Hi, hello everybody. I hope you are doing fine today. So I'm glad that you joined our webinar number 12. And so we continue preparing for the NOA 2022 in English. And today we will discuss some grammar. So we will speak about gerund and infinitive. And so first of all, please look at this picture. So we have got here two sentences. So let's read them. She never considered becoming an English teacher. But when she was 20, she signed up for the courses to improve her English. So we can see that in the first sentence, we have becoming, and in the second sentence, so the underlined word is to improve. So now please think which forms of words you can see here. So which form is becoming and which form is to improve? And I'm waiting for your ideas to the chat. So what do we call these forms of the verbs? Becoming and to improve. Подивіться, будь ласка, на підкреслені слова і подумайте, які форми, як ми називаємо ці форми дієслів? Becoming and to improve. I'm waiting for your ideas to the chat, so let's see if you remember this. So to improve, that is infinitive, yes, and becoming, that is gerund. Okay, so that is right. So gerund, that is the form of the verb with ing. Becoming – це форма герундії, тобто це форма дієслова з закінченням ing. And to improve – that is infinitive. To improve – це інфінітив, тобто це початкова форма дієслова. So you can see at the sentences that, so in both sentences, in sentence A and in sentence B, we have such a situation. We have one verb that is considered, and we have another verb, becoming. And in sentence B, so we can see the first part of the sentence. She signed up for the courses. Why? To improve her English. So we might have some situations in the sentences when we need to use, for example, two verbs together. So then the second verb will need to be in gerund or in infinitive. Тобто в нас бувають такі ситуації, коли в реченні нам потрібно, крім основного дієслова, також використати ще дієслово додаткове в герундії або в інфінітиві. Часто таке трапляється, коли в нас йдуть два дієслова поспіль, наприклад, як в реченні A – consider, і наступне дієслово becoming. And now we will look with you at some rules, we will look at some tips how to know what to use, gerund or infinitive. Подивимось на трохи більше прикладів, коли нам потрібно вжити герундій, коли нам потрібно вжити інфінітив. So, here you can see 10 sentences. You can see the underlined words. So all the underlined words are infinitives here. And you can see 10 rules. So now your task will be to read the sentence, look at the underlined word, and try to match the sentence and the underlined infinitive to the use. Зараз ви бачите 10 речень з підкресленими інфінітивами, тобто зараз ми говоримо лише про те, коли ми вживаємо інфінітив в речення. І ваша задача з'єднати речення і підкреслені інфінітиви з правилом. So, let's look at the first one. She went to the bank to get some money. And so you write in the chat that that is D, and that is right. So to express purpose, to tell why she did it. Ми можемо використовувати інфінітив, щоб сказати про причину цієї дії. Тобто вона пішла в банк для чого? Для того, щоб отримати гроші. Тобто, якщо в нас перекладається для того, щоб щось зробити, ми будемо використовувати інфінітив. Okay, so let's go to number 2. I can't decide where to go. So what letter is it? I can't decide where to go. So that's really easy because you can see the answer in the sentence. Yes, and sure it will be A. Yes, so after verbs, followed by a question word. Who, what, which, where, how, also why. So we can use infinitive. Після питальних слів where, why, what ми використовуємо інфінітив. I can't decide where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go for my vacation, etc. So let's go to number 3. He is glad to be back. So please look at number 3. He is glad to be back. So please look at glad, at the word glad, and think which part of speech is it. And here the answer will be B. Yeah, so after adjectives or after nouns. So after adjectives or nouns, usually we will use infinitive. So if we need to use a verb after an adjective or after a noun, we will use infinitive after it. Тобто найчастіше, коли після іменника або після прикметника нам потрібно використати дієслово, це дієслово буде в формі інфінітива. Glad, so that is an adjective, glad – це прикметник, тому після нього ми використовуємо інфінітив. So number 4. These rules are too hard to remember. These rules are too hard to remember. So number 4 is also easy because you can see the answer in the sentence. So please try to find the rule. And number 4, that is C. Yes, C. After too and enough. So when we have such a situation, we have too, for example, plus an adjective, so we will use infinitive after it. Якщо в реченні в нас, якщо перед дієсловом в нас стоять фрази з to або enough, ми будемо використовувати інфінітив після. Then number 5, that is obviously G. Yes, I would like to learn a foreign language. And G, it says after would like, would love, would prefer. So please be very attentive because after such verbs as like, love, and prefer, you know that usually we use the ing form. But if you have a phrase would like, would love, would prefer, we will use infinitive after it. So number 6, it was nice of him to help. It was nice of him to help. And number 6, that is F. So in the construction, it plus be plus an adjective, so we will use to infinitive. So if we have such a construction as it plus be plus an adjective or plus a pronoun or a noun, we will use infinitive after it. Тобто тут легко запам'ятати, найчастіше після додатку, наприклад, him, her, me, you, ми будемо вживати інфінітив. Тобто, якщо ви бачите, що у вас є додаток в реченні, і після нього потрібно використати дієслово, воно буде в формі інфінітиву. Good. Number 7. He advised me to apply for the job. And so 7, that is really, really similar to number 6. So that will be I after the object of a certain word. So if you have an object, again, we will use infinitive after it. Тобто, знову ж таки, в нас тут є додаток me, і після додатку ми використовуємо інфінітив. So number 8. They volunteered to help us. So your ideas for number 8. I'm waiting for your answers. So they volunteered to help us. And in number 8, that will be H. So after certain verbs. So after certain verbs, we use to infinitive. So we just need to remember that after some verbs, we need to use infinitive. After some verbs, we need to use gerund. So I will show you the QR code and you will be able to scan the list of the verbs you need to remember. But here in number 8, so you just need to remember that after volunteer, if we need to use another verb, we will use to infinitive. Тобто є певні дієслова, після яких нам потрібно запам'ятати. яке дієслово нам потрібно вжити після них, в якій формі – інфінітив чи герундій. Далі я вам покажу список, QR-код, за яким можна буде відсканувати список дієслів, щоб побачити, після яких вживається герундій, після яких вживається інфінітив, і їх потрібно запам'ятати. So number 9, that is obviously E. Yes, Jane was the last to hear about the accident. And so we use infinitive after the first, the second, next, last, etc. And number 10, so only one option is left here. To lend money is a risky business. And here, so the answer is J, yes, at the beginning of a sentence as a subject. So it is possible to use infinitive as a subject, and we can use it at the beginning of the sentence. Інфінітив можемо вживати як підмет на початку речення. Okay, good. So you can take a photo or a screenshot of this part. And so let's sum up. We can use infinitive, so full infinitive, to plus the first form of the verb in these cases. Підсумуємо те, про що ми з вами поговорили. Ми використовуємо інфінітив в таких випадках. To express purpose, after would love, would like, would prefer, after certain verbs, as agree, appear, ask, decide, happen, hesitate, hope, manage, offer, plan, prepare, seem, volunteer, and etc. After the first, the second, next, last, the best. After the object of certain verbs, for example, advise, allow, expect, force, invite, order, remind, and etc. After some nouns or after some adjectives. For example, pleasure, shock, etc. After verbs followed by a question word. Who, what, which, where, and etc. So also when we have a following structure, it plus be plus an adjective. Also we use infinitive with to and enough. We can use infinitive after certain adjectives. Afraid, careful, glad, happy. So you can see some examples here. And we can also use the infinitive at the beginning of the sentence as the subject. So that is some useful information for you, some useful rules. So again, you can take a photo or a screenshot, and you will need it when we come to practice. So it will help you. Okay, so let's go on. And let's look at some sentences. So read these two sentences and please put your ideas to the chat. Are the sentences correct or not? And maybe if you think that one sentence is not correct, you can put which sentence is not correct to the chat. Подивіться на ці речення, подумайте, чи вони правильні. І якщо якесь з них неправильне, то напишіть, яке саме в чат. So are the sentences correct? And if no, which one has a mistake? And both. So both of them are correct. A is correct and B is correct. So we can say she helped me to fix this tab, and we can say she helped me fix the tab. So there are some verbs. So for example, after help, we can use both infinitive or we can use infinitive with to or without it. So after help, it's not important what you use. So after help, you can use to infinitive or you can use just infinitive. Після дієслова help ми можемо використати або повний інфінітив з часткою to, або інфінітив без частки to. Тут немає різниці, просто запам'ятайте, що після help обидва варіанти можливі. So what about these two sentences? So one of them has a mistake. So your ideas to the chat. Which sentence has a mistake? A or B? He decided to not accept the job and he decided not to accept the job. So only one sentence is correct. And so which sentence has a mistake? Put your ideas to the chat. Yes, you're right. So A is not correct and B is correct. So we can form negative infinitive with not, but we put not before the infinitive. So we put not to accept, not to do, not to try. Якщо хочемо зробити заперечний інфінітив, ми використовуємо not, але ставимо його перед всією конструкцією. Тобто ми не можемо розривати to і саме дієслово. Good. And so we have two infinitives in English. We have full infinitive, that is with to, and we have bare infinitive, that is without to. В англійській мові є два види інфінітивів. Це повний інфінітив, це часточка to плюс дієслово. І bare infinitive – це, якщо перекласти, буде голий інфінітив, тому що перед ним нема часточки to. Тобто це просто перша форма дієслова. So, let's look at some examples and let's think when we need to use bare infinitive. So let's look at sentences A and B. So here we use bare infinitive and we say they made him pay for the damage. And we say some people seem to let their kids do whatever they like. So you need to remember that after verbs let and make we use bare infinitive. Після дієслів let – дозволяти або make в значенні змушувати, ми використовуємо інфінітив без частки to. Обов'язково запам'ятайте, це дуже-дуже типова помилка, коли після let і make вживають інфінітив з часткою to. Це буде помилка. Also, let's look at number C. So we will say, I would rather go. I would rather go home now. So we will use bare infinitive again here. And in D as well. So I'd better go and get ready. So after such phrases as had better and would rather, we will use bare infinitive. Також запам'ятайте, що після фраз had better and would rather ми також використовуємо інфінітив без частки to. And also E and F, so that is easy. I'm sure you remember that we have some modal verbs here, and after modal verbs, we use also bare infinitive. For example, we say, you must study hard, or I can't understand why you are so upset. So after modal verbs, for example, may, should, can, must, we use bare infinitive. Також запам'ятовуємо, що після модальних дієслів ми використовуємо інфінітив без часточки to. Також дуже типова, дуже часта помилка. Якщо не пам'ятаєте, що таке модальні дієслова, повторіть, подивіться на їх список, і після них ми використовуємо інфінітив без частки to. Виключенням є лише от to. So, we have discussed the infinitive. Now let's speak about gerund, so the ing form of the verb. And let's do the same thing. So you can see here 8 sentences, 8 examples, and you can see 8 rules on the right. So now let's try to match them. Let's read the first sentence and let's try to find the rule for this. So number 1, swimming keeps you fit. Yes, you're right. That is D. Yes, absolutely right. So we can use gerund as a noun, subject or an object. So, swimming – плавання. Тобто це вже, по суті, іменник. Ми можемо використовувати герундій як іменник за такими самими правилами, як іменник. And yeah, so here, so that is the name of activity. Number 2. He left without saying goodbye. He left without saying goodbye. So which rule is it? And again, look at what goes before the ing form. So look at the word which goes before saying. So that is without. So please think which part of speech it is. And then it will be easy for you to choose the correct answer. Yeah, I can see answers for number 3. But what about number 2? And so number 2, that will be B. After prepositions, or a verb plus a preposition. So after prepositions, when we need to use another verb, usually we will use gerund. Після прийменників ми використовуємо герундій. So without, і це preposition, це прийменник, значить, далі ми використовуємо герундій. So number 3. Yeah, I can see a lot of answers that number 3, that is C. So that is right. They often go climbing. And yeah, so after the verb to go, indicating physical activities, we use ing. So you remember it from our topic sport, and you remember that we say go climbing, go shopping, go swimming, etc. Now number 4. Number 4, that is F. It's no use waiting for the bus. And after some expressions, after some phrases, we need to use gerund. Also, you need to remember them. So after the phrase it's no use, we will use gerund. Запам'ятайте, що після фрази it's no use немає сенсу щось робити. Ми використовуємо герундій, форма ing. And number 5. Okay, I can see answers for 7. Good. So you're so fast, but number 5, that is A. Okay, right you are. Jessica spent all day shopping. So after be busy and spend, waste. So some expressions we spend or waste about money or about time. So after them we will use the ing form, we will use gerund. Після фраз, які пов'язані з часом або з грошима, коли ми використовуємо spend – витрачати, або waste – тратити дарма, ми використовуємо ing. For example, you can say spend all day shopping, or spend 2 hours doing homework, or waste your time playing computer games. So ready to go to number 6. They are looking forward to traveling abroad. And 6, that is E, right you are. So after verbs or expressions with to. So that is very useful for your writing, yeah, because we often finish our letters with this phrase. So if you have a phrase in which you use to, and then you need to use another verb, so you can use the ing form. Тобто після фрази look forward to завжди буде ing, запам'ятайте це обов'язково для своїх листів. So then number 7. It's 8, yeah, so that is easy. The car needs repairing. And after verbs need, want, and require, when they have a passive meaning, we use the ing form. Після дієслів need, want, require, коли ми маємо на увазі пасивне значення, ми використовуємо ing. For example, the car needs repairing. Машину потрібно відремонтувати. Тобто не сама машина буде себе ремонтувати, а її хтось відремонтує. Тобто це пасивне значення. And in this case, yes, we use gerund. And number 8, the last one, that is G. After certain verbs, add their object. For example, he avoided answering my questions. And again, you need to remember some verbs. So remember some verbs after which we need to use infinitive, after which we need to use gerund. So you just need to learn them. And after avoid, we will always use the gerund form. Тобто тут потрібно знову ж таки вивчити, що після деяких дієслів вживається інфінітив, після деяких герундій, як, наприклад, після avoid – уникати, ми будемо використовувати герундій. Це просто потрібно знати. And let's sum up. So we can use gerund as a noun. We can use it after a preposition or a verb plus preposition, після прийменників. After certain verbs, so you just need to remember them. For example, admit, consider, enjoy, imagine. After verbs are expressions with to. For example, get accustomed to, be used to, in addition to, look forward to. Знову ж таки, говорили про фрази з to, після яких нам потрібно використати герундій. Тут от ви бачите приклади деяких фраз. Тобто це не лише look forward to, а також get used to, звикнути до чогось, get accustomed to, познайомитись з чимось, також звикнути до чогось. Also, we can use gerund after some expressions. So you can see a lot of examples here. So you can take a photo, a screenshot, and look through them. And again, so you need to remember them. So you need to remember that after these phrases, we need to use gerund. Also, we can use gerunds after need, want, require, and etc. when they have a passive meaning. So it's only about passive meaning. Also, after go, when we speak about some physical activities like go shopping, go swimming, and after be busy or spend, waste, plus expressions with money or time. Again, you can take a screenshot or a photo of this slide, and then we will go on. And now finally you can scan this QR code and you will see the list. You will see some information about the verbs after which we use gerund and after which we use infinitive. So when you have some time, that's very useful to look through this list. Make sure you remember all the verbs there. And so you need to remember, you need to learn after which verbs we use gerund, after which verbs we use infinitive. And also, so that is a very useful tip. When you learn new verbs, please check in the dictionary what we can use after them. So, for example, here you have the verb consider, yeah, and you can see that after consider we use ing. So if you use good dictionaries like Longman or like Cambridge Dictionary, you will find this information there. Тобто, коли вчите нові дієслова, одразу також словнику можете перевірити, що ми після них вживаємо, чи ми вживаємо після них інше дієслово в формі герундія чи в формі інфінітива. Хороші словники дають обов'язкову інформацію по цьому, і іноді після деяких дієслів ми можемо вжити і герундій, і інфінітив, і тоді в словнику ви побачите приклади, ви побачите різницю. Тобто обов'язково користуйтесь хорошими словниками і перевіряйте цей момент. And now, so we are ready to practice. So look at the sentences and choose the correct option. So we can choose gerund or infinitive. Now, please read the first one and put your ideas to the chat. Put number 1 and what you choose there, to give or given. And also when you do this task, try to explain to yourself why we use here gerund, why we use here infinitive. So if you try to explain it to yourself, you will remember it better. And in one, yes, we use to give. Why? Because we have here to. So after phrases with to or enough, we use infinitive. Number 2. The high wall prevented us from seeing or from sea. Seeing and why? Because we have the preposition from. From прийменник, після прийменників вживаємо герундій. So good job. Number 3. He spends much time to play or playing computer games. Okay, so I can see so many correct answers in the chat. It makes me so glad. And that is playing, because we have a phrase with spend and it's about time. So phrases with spend or waste, about time or about money, will be followed by the gerund form. Good. Number 4. Hannah was unable to find or unable finding. And she was unable to find out. Yeah, because unable, that is an adjective, and after adjectives we use to infinitive. Unable прикметник, після прикметників використовуємо інфінітив. So let's go to number 5. It's no use. Yeah, we've discussed this phrase with you. So what do we use after it's no use? Yeah, exactly. Complaining. Because after the phrase it's no use, we use the ing form, we use gerund. Good. Number 6. So think which part of speech it must be. Mhm. So be careful here. And in number 6, we will use Marin. Marin, why? Because here that is a noun. Тут ми використовуємо герундій в якості іменника. So what do you think of his marrying that girl? Що ти думаєш про його? І marrying тут буде одруження. So that's why we will use here the ing form. Тому ми вживаємо герундій як іменник. Number 7. Their decision. So decision, think which part of speech it is and what we need to use after. Yeah. So that is to, yes, to close infinitive because decision, that is a noun, and after nouns we use to infinitive. Decision іменник, після іменників ми використовуємо інфінітив. So number 8, that will be to go because we have enough. So in phrases with, so after phrases with to and enough, we use to infinitive. Number 9, your refusal. It will be to discuss. So here refusal, to discuss. Again, so refusal, that is a noun. So after nouns we use infinitive. Refusal іменник, після іменників ми можемо використовувати інфінітив. Number 10, how about? So how about join or how about joining? And yes, in 10 it will be joining because of about. So first of all, about, that is a preposition. So after prepositions we use the ing form. And also after the phrase how about. Тобто після фрази how about, так само як і після інших прийменників, ми будемо використовувати ing. 11. I am pleased to, yes, to inform you. So we have here the structure to be plus an adjective plus to infinitive. And 12, so Jane wasted no time. So we have waste and we have a phrase about time. And we will use finding. So after spend and waste, when we talk about time or money, we use gerund. So good job. Let's go on. And so let's look at these words. Begin, start, continue, propose, bother, or intend. Now please look at the sentence and tell me, what do you think we need to use here? To discuss or discussing? We continue to discuss or we continue discussing the plans? So what do you think we need to use in this sentence? In the first sentence on this slide, we continue to discuss or we continue discussing? And so actually here both options are correct. So we can say we continue to discuss and we can say we continue discussing the plans. So because after some verbs, and you can see them on the slide, so after these verbs, we can use both. We can use gerund or we can use infinitive. So there will be no difference between these two options. So after begin, start, continue, propose, bother, intend, we can use both. We can use either an infinitive or a gerund. Тобто після таких дієслів, які ви бачите на слайді, ми можемо використовувати або інфінітив, або герундій без зміни значення. But let's look at the last two sentences. So let's read last two sentences on this slide. It's starting to get cold, or it's starting getting cold. And here, we can't say it's starting getting cold because so the ing form goes with simple tenses and the infinitive with continuous tenses. So yes, we know that it is possible to use gerund or to use infinitive after the verb start. Yes, but if it is in the continuous tense, for example, in present continuous, then we will use to infinitive after it. Да, ми намагаємось не ставити дві форми ing, два герундія один за одним, тому ми знаємо, що після дієслова start, да, ми можемо використати і герундій, і інфінітив, але це стосується simple tenses, наприклад, present simple, past simple, future simple. Але якщо в нас використовується час continuous, і в нас вже є одне дієслово в формі ing, то тоді краще буде все ж таки використати інфінітив після цього. So it's starting to get cold. Але якби речення було в present simple, можна було б використати обидва варіанти. Ми можемо сказати, for example, it usually starts to rain, or it usually starts raining a lot in autumn. And so let's practice more. So let's look at some more sentences. And now you don't have any options to choose from, but you need to think yourself and you need to use which form to use. So let's read the beginning of the text. Are you fed up with being a failure in your job? Wouldn't you rather succeed? Do you want to earn more money? Are you anxious? And now your ideas. So what do we use after anxious? So please put get in the correct form and put your ideas to the chat. Так, тепер вже нема варіантів відповідей. Ваша задача самим поставити дієслово в дужках в правильну форму і подумати, що ми тут використовуємо: герундій чи інфінітив. І якщо інфінітив, то який сам? So waiting for your ideas for number one. And here, to get. Are you anxious? To get. So anxious, that is an adjective. Anxious – це прикметник. Після прикметників використовуємо інфінітив. So, anxious – це зляканий, тобто ти боїшся, ти тривожишся. So, let's do number two. Do you believe in? Yes, and it will be in making. Yes, because in, that is a preposition, and after prepositions we use the ing form. In прийменник, після прийменників використовуємо герундій. Number three. So I can say that some of you write reading, some of you write to read. So let's think. So that will be reading, because we have a preposition about. Знову прийменник. Прийменник about, тому далі використовуємо герундій. Да, мені дуже подобається, коли ви пишете відповідь, а також чому ви обрали цю відповідь. Тому якщо ви також маєте пояснення, то можете писати не просто відповідь, а також пояснення, правило чому. So, number four. Just imagine yourself. And we will use here running. because we have imagine. So after imagine, it's in the list of the words which you need to remember. So after imagine, we use the ing form. Треба запам'ятати, що після дієслова imagine ми використовуємо ing. Number 5. So let's do number 5 together. And in 5, yes, we will use right you are dreaming um, because of. So first of all, that is the phrase instead of. So after instead of, we will use the ing form. And also of, that is a preposition. Number 6. It will happen if you want it. So we can't use here happens because like that is not the main verb in the sentence. Happens не можемо використати, тому що це не присудок. And we use here if you want it to happen. If you want it to happen, so in such phrases, if you want somebody to do something or need somebody to do something, we use to infinitive, and usually after want, yeah, if it's not passive meaning, we use to infinitive. А після дієслова want ми використовуємо інфінітив, якщо це не пасивне значення. Тут значення не пасивне, тому можемо використати to infinitive. Let's look at number 7. Make it reality by ordering. Again, by, yes. So by, that is a preposition. So we use the gerund after it. So we will use here by ordering, by doing something. So remember, after by, when we need to use a verb, it will be the ing form. Now 8. So it has a 10-point plan for you to follow. Okay, wonderful. For you to follow. Good. Тобто є план, за яким ви можете слідувати. Тобто він існує для того, щоб ви за ним слідували. Тобто для того, щоб. І також for you. Okay, also it helps us. Good. Number 9. Do it and you are certain a success. And you are certain to be a success. So again, we have a phrase, you are certain. So after this phrase, we use infinitive, and certain, that is also an adjective. So after adjectives, also we use infinitive. So number 10, you'll know what. So we have what. Yeah, so please remember what we use after what, where, when. And we use to do, what to do. Yeah, because after question word like what, when, where, we use to infinitive. Good. Number 11, you can make other people. So let's look at the verb in this sentence. You can make. So make other people. So what do we use after let and make? Please be careful with number 11 and please remember what we use after make and after let. Respect. So after make and let we use bare infinitive. Після дієслів make, змушувати, let, дозволяти ми використовуємо інфінітив без частки to. Good. Number 12. You can make other people respect you and persuade them to do what you want. After persuade somebody, we use to infinitive. And we have an object here. Тут у нас є додаток them, і ми використовуємо to infinitive. Good. Then next, experts recommend. So here you need to think what we use after recommend. So just what we need to use after this verb. And after recommend, we use by. So just remember that after recommend, we use by. Buying, so we use the ing form, we use gerund. Okay, and let's look at number 14. You'd better. So what we use after you'd better? And here it will be you'd better order. Because after phrases would rather, had better, we use bare infinitive. And here one more very, very important thing. So please look at number 13. Look at recommend. So if after recommend we have a verb, we use the ing form. Зверніть, будь ласка, увагу на є деякі дієслова, після яких може бути додаток, а може не бути. Наприклад, recommend. В 13-му номері тут після recommend ми одразу вживаємо дієслово. Тобто, якщо після recommend одразу йде інше дієслово, воно буде в формі ing. Але якщо після recommend в нас буде додаток I recommend you, I recommend him, I recommend her, тоді в нас далі буде йти інфінітив. For example, I recommend you to buy, I recommend you to do. Yeah, so you can check recommend in the dictionary and you will see some examples of how it works. And now let's move on. So look at these two sentences. Again, look at the picture. And so your ideas, are the sentences correct or are they not correct? Maybe one of them is correct, maybe both of them are wrong, maybe both of them are right. So please put your ideas to the chat. So are the sentences correct? And what is the difference between them? So A, that is, I heard Jack talking on the phone, and the second one is, I heard Jack talk on the phone. So your ideas, which sentence is correct? Or maybe both of them are. Okay, I agree. A is correct and B is correct. So both of them are correct. But what is the difference? So if you know what the difference between them is, you can also put it to the chat. Because yes, we can use gerund, so we can use infinitive, but the meaning will be different. So if you know what is the difference, then you can put your ideas to the chat. So what is different in terms of the meaning? Можна використати і так, але буде різниця в значенні. Якщо ви знаєте, в чому різниця, можете також написати в чаті. We can say, I heard Jack talking on the phone, or we can say, I heard Jack talk on the phone. Okay, so let's look. Let's look together. So if you use the ing form, yeah, so it will mean that you heard a part of the conversation. So I heard Jack talking on the phone. I could hear a small part of his conversation, but not the whole conversation. But if we say I heard Jack talk on the phone, it will mean that he or she could hear the whole conversation from the beginning till the end. В цьому випадку ми можемо використати talking, герундій, але це буде означати, що він почув лише частинку цієї розмови. А якщо ми використаємо інфінітив, зверніть увагу, інфінітив без частки to, bare infinitive. Якщо ми скажемо I heard Jack talk on the phone, це означатиме, що ми чули всю розмову повністю. And so the same thing works with such verbs as see, hear, feel, watch, listen to and notice. Тобто така схема працює з дієсловами, які ви бачите на слайді зараз. Після них ми можемо використати герундій, якщо ми бачили, чули, були свідком лише частини цього процесу. Або ми можемо використати інфінітив, якщо ми почули щось повністю, якщо ми побачили щось повністю. So also a good thing to remember. So we use gerund to describe an incomplete action, and we use infinitive to describe a complete action. And again, so let's practice with you. Now you need to put the verbs in the correct form, and let's start with the first one. So did you see the robber? Yes, I saw him into the car and drive away. So let's think, if the person could see only a small part of this action or the whole action. And we will use here get. I saw him get. Yeah, because that was a very quick, so it was a fast action, and so the person could see it all from the beginning till the end. Тобто це коротка дія, да? Сісти в машину. Тобто людина, яка бачила, як це відбувалося, яка бачила грабіжника, бачила, як він сів в машину, тобто бачила цю дію від початку до кінця. I saw him get into the car. So number 2. Is John here today? Yes, I heard him on the phone as I walked past his office. So waiting for your ideas for number 2. Yes, and in number 2 we will use talking because I could hear only a small part of this conversation. Good. Да, тут людина почула лише частинку цієї телефонної розмови, коли проходила повз. So we use gerund. So number 3. I heard him a speech last month. Yes, and in number 3 we use make because the person could hear the whole speech from the beginning till the end. Good. So number 4. I watched the hairdresser so I could learn how to do it myself. So let's think if the person could see the whole action or only a small part of it. And it will be dry, yes, because we could see the whole action from the beginning till the end. So when you go to the hairdresser, you stay there from the beginning till the end of the procedure. So the person could watch the hairdresser dry the hair from the beginning till the end, and that's why he or she could learn how to do it. And the last one. Again, here I have as I walk past. So is it the whole action or only a small part of it? And that is seen because again, so the person could hear only a small part. Wonderful. Let's go on. So some more sentences. I have stopped buying coffee and I stopped to buy coffee. So which sentence is correct? Again, your ideas. So which sentence is correct here on this slide? I have stopped buying coffee or I stopped to buy coffee. Okay, you say B is correct. I can say some answers. More ideas? Both. Okay, you say both are correct. Yes, both are correct, but what is the difference? Mhm. Yes, both. A is correct and B is correct. But do you know what is the difference between them? What is the difference in the meaning? Давайте подумаємо, обидва варіанти правильні. Так, я бачу дуже багато правильних відповідей в чаті, але давайте подумаємо, в чому різниця в значенні. So, let's look here. Stop plus ing means that the action is not happening anymore. So if the person says, I have stopped buying coffee, so we know that this person will not buy coffee in the future. So this person quit doing that. Якщо використовуємо stop плюс ing, це означає, що людина зовсім перестала це робити, тобто кинула якусь звичку, перестала це робити на постійній основі. Good. And B, I stopped to buy coffee. So it will mean that somebody stopped and bought some coffee. So it shows, again, the purpose of the action. Тобто, якщо використовуємо stop plus infinitive, це означає, що людина зупинилась і зробила це. So I stopped to buy coffee. Я зупинилась для чого? Для того, щоб купити каву. Або я зупинилась і купила каву. So that is the difference. And there are also some other verbs after which we can use gerund or we can use infinitive, but the meaning will be different. So let's look at some more examples. So what do you think we need to use in this sentence? I remember the zoo when I was 10. So your idea is what to put in this gap. So, yes, right. We can use here visiting. I remember visiting the zoo when I was 10. And so after such verbs as remember and forget, we can use both gerund or infinitive, infinitive with to, full infinitive. And if we use gerund, it will mean that we speak about some actions in the past, so we speak about our past memories. And if we use infinitive, we will speak about some things which you need to do. Тобто, якщо після remember або forget ми використовуємо герундій, ми згадуємо про щось з нашого минулого, це якісь спогади. А якщо використовуємо інфінітив, це означає, що нам треба щось зробити. Тобто, наприклад, remember to buy some milk. Не забудь купити молока. Тобто, якась задача, яку нам потрібно зробити. Also, regret. So let's look at this sentence. And here we will use to infinitive. I regret to tell you that your credit card is blocked. And after regret, we can also use gerund, we can use infinitive. But if we use gerund, so it's very, very similar to remember and forget. So if we use gerund, it means that we feel sorry for doing something in the past. And if we use infinitive, we are sorry to announce some bad news. Якщо після regret шкодувати про щось, ми використовуємо герунді, це означає, що ми шкодуємо про щось в минулому, що відбулося вже в минулому. А якщо використовуємо інфінітив, це означає, що ми говоримо, оголошуємо якісь погані новини. And also one more example, that is try. And here we can put taken, so try taking some painkillers. Спробуй випити знеболююче. And after try, we can use gerund to speak about something that we can do as an experiment in order to solve a problem. And we use to infinitive when we speak about something difficult, something challenging to do. So we need to make an effort to do this thing. Якщо після try пробувати або намагатись, ми використовуємо герундій, ми говоримо про, зазвичай часто це можуть бути якісь поради. Спробуй щось зробити. Тобто спробуй щось зробити як експеримент, щоб вирішити певну проблему. Якщо ми використовуємо інфінітив, тоді ми говоримо про якусь складну задачу, яку ми намагаємось зробити. Наприклад, so, I am trying to get ready to my test. Я намагаюсь підготуватись до іспиту. Це важка задача, це не експеримент, я докладаю зусиль, щоб це зробити, тому ми використовуємо цю infinitive after try. And also one more example. She was so fascinated by the book that she went on reading it for hours. So went on here, it means продовжувати. Фраза go on в минулому часі went on означає продовжувати щось робити. And after go on, we can also use gerund, and it will mean that the action continues. So we continue doing the same action, the same thing. And if we use infinitive, it means that we change the action. So we start doing another action. Якщо після go on ми використовуємо герундій, це означає, що ми продовжуємо робити ту ж саму дію. Якщо ми використовуємо інфінітив, це означає, що ми починаємо робити іншу дію. And so the last task for you for today, the last practice task. Now let's look at the sentences and let's choose the correct option. So we start with number 1 as usual, and your ideas, please. Can you please stop to play or stop playing Justin Bieber? That is stop playing. Can you please stop playing Justin Bieber? So it means to stop doing it forever. Yeah, not to stop and do this, but stop doing it at all. Number 2. I'm trying studying or I'm trying to study. So let's think if it's something difficult to do or something that we can try as an experiment. And here, yes, definitely we will say trying to study because that is something difficult, so we need to make effort to do that. So then we will use to infinitive. So number 3. Can you stop being or stop to be such a geek? So what about number 3? Yes, try stop being such a geek, of course, because stop, I'm sorry, stop being such a geek. Yeah, because it means like stop it forever. Number 4, try to go out or try going out. Yes, and in 4 we say try going out because that is an experiment. We give some recommendations to a person and it's not something difficult to do. Number 5. Yeah, stop giving. Good. And number 6. And here stopped to have. So I stopped and I had a coffee with that girl. So I stopped why? Because I wanted to have coffee with that girl. Good. 7. So that is about number 7. It's about an action in the past. So when we speak about our memories from the past, we use ing. So remember telling. So when we speak about our past memories, after remember and forget, we will use the ing form. Коли говоримо про спогади з минулого, після remember, forget або forget використовуємо ing. And 8, remember 2 keys. Yeah, because there is not a memory from the past, but it is something you need to do now or you need to do in the future. So that's why we will have to infinitive. Good, well done. So let's sum up what we discussed today. and let's revise some information. So waiting for your answers to some tricky questions. So number 1, yes or no? Do we use gerund after verbs followed by a question word? Who, what, which, where, how? So is number 1 yes or no? Mm-hmm. No, because we use infinitive. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to wear. I don't know which film to watch. Number 2. Do we use the full infinitive with would rather, had better? So full infinitive, that is infinitive with to. Mm-hmm. No, because we use bare infinitive, infinitive without to. You'd better stop or you'd better study. Number 3. Do we use like with both gerund and infinitive? And in number 3, yes. So after like, we can use both. After like, we can use gerund or we can use infinitive. Number 4, do we use stop plus infinitive to switch to another action? So do we use stop plus infinitive to tell that we stop and do another action? And that is yes. For example, I stopped to have some coffee. So I stopped and had some coffee. So we use infinitive. And the last one, do we use gerund after prepositions? And of course, yes. Mm-hmm. Good. After prepositions, we often use gerunds. Okay, so thank you so much for your work today. You were really active and you gave correct answers. So make sure you look through the list of the verbs after which we need to use gerund or infinitive, learn them, and it will really, really help you at your test. Також бачу, просила підказати ресурси для читання. Сьогодні ми не працювали з читанням, тому я не підготувала для вас чогось нового, але ви можете продивитись попередні вебінари. В кінці я давала посилання, мені здається, навіть минулий раз, а там було посилання на ресурси, які допоможуть підготуватись, в тому числі і до читання. Тобто це певні сайти, там був сайт тренажер, в якому також є рубрика читання. Можете зайти на Ютубі, подивитись кінець, там останні декілька хвилин останнього попереднього вебінара і просканувати QR-код. А також для читання можна використовувати будь-які, в принципі, підручники, будь-які тексти, збірки підготовки до ЗНО. Головне читати. Тобто головне це практика, не так важливо, де ви зможете знайти ці тексти. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week and see you next Monday. Goodbye.